Well, so you just kind of blew past a phrase, which this is one of the things I think that you are so naturally talented at, is like expressing things in ways that are really natural but also impactful, right? So I'm sure that somebody else, you're aware of that. But so you just said we all get together. The red team gets together on a Sunday morning, and we look at each other and we say to ourselves, "This is on us today." You just said that, right? Paraphrasing you.
Hmm.
And that's one thing that I think is uh, really absolutely important. I don't know that a lot of leaders will push onto their people to impress upon their people that we have people coming today and it is our responsibility. There's no one else that is going to make them feel welcome
Hmm.
today. There's no one else that is going to take a nervous single mom with her kids coming in wondering if her kids are going to embarrass her today,
Right.
or the old couple who hasn't been to church in 20 years, or the 40-year-old who's never been invited to church, or whatever it is. There's no one else in our church is responsible for making that person feel welcome and at home and safe and comfortable and loved and seen and all those things. That is like, it is our responsibility. And like I think that's a really important thing. I mean, if
Yes.
if my volunteers are like, well, I'm here to help out, like I'm here
Mm.
to do what I can,
Hmm.
I'm here to serve. That's a very different attitude than if I don't smile and shake a hand and open the door and walk a
Hmm.
person from their car to the door, the front doorstep, or uh, ask a question, ask some kind of meaningful question when when I'm walking the parent from the atrium to the kids area. Then that person completely falls through the cracks and is not loved. And so
Yep.
if I don't do it, it doesn't happen. Versus somebody will make that person feel welcome.
Right.
And
Well, that's where common language comes into play. That's where huddle comes into play, because our teams, we call it own the day, and it's a long day, but you only do it once every 4 weeks. So you have 3 weeks to rest and come to church whenever you want. But when you're there, but we still have to remind one another why we're there. And I think a lot of times we get very caught up in saying very church language of like, we're going to serve the Lord today. Correct.
yeah.
But how does that really apply to me right now? How can I, as a leader, communicate to my volunteers coming in what that really looks like? So there's fun things we do, there's meaningful things we do, and there's things that we say, okay, 9 foot radius, 9 foot radius today, meaning 9 foot radius around you. That's yours. That's yours. But then we also say meet a need, see a need, meet a need. Well, what's a need? So we have to talk about what the needs look like
Uh-huh.
hands-free serving. What does that look like? And so when we look at one another and someone's caught up and they don't have margin for 9 feet, I know that I can do the most loving thing and go help serve them.
Hmm.
So we always say, what's the most loving thing to do? Do that. What's the
Hmm.
most loving thing? I've got rules, we've got guidelines, we've got posts, but the most loving thing to do is to leave your post and go walk with someone or pray with someone. Do that. Do
Yeah.
that. So within all that context is that when you're empowering your leaders, you're empowering your volunteers. And the other thing is, this is your church too, something you were just saying. Like,
Hmm.
I've learned, because again, I didn't grow up in church, but I look and it's amazing because they think they take it and they take their church sometimes and put it in the category it belongs somehow to the pastor,
Yeah.
or we're
Hmm.
only the pastor or the elders or certain leaders are allowed
Hmm.
certain things. And I'm like, this is your church. You have an opportunity that somebody is coming today.
Hmm.
What if it was your somebody? And so we get real personal a lot of times. And this is like, I talk and teach about rhythms of training and encouragement, everyone's timeline, how often, what do you do, how often do you do, based on all the volunteers, some of the volunteers, all the leaders, a few key leaders. But through that, there's got to be a thread that continues to be the same message, so we're all on the same page,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so I think that's where huddle comes in. That's where debrief comes in at the end of the day. And people start hearing the stories of that person impacted and they thought they were the least likely. Here's the other part: not only impact the people coming to church, but that they were impacted. Like, that's my other big thing, is that we look at our volunteers to help us further the mission of our church, the mission, what have you. And I'm like, that's cool, but the people are the mission. Like the people that you're looking at to go and say, we need 5 people to go stand here.